All right, guys, so we're going to kick off and start the call. More people will jump on as the time starts, but welcome to our Team Perseverance bi-weekly call now. It is May 14th. I hope so many of you mothers had an amazing Mother's Day weekend. Happy Mother's Day to so many. I see a lot of mothers on this page, so happy Mother's Day. I'm really excited about tonight's call and our guest speaker. I also want to welcome any new coaches that have come on to our call, and just to quickly introduce who we are. My name is Dave Atkins, the founding coach of Team Perseverance and one of your Applying Star Diamond coaches. And this is my wife, Kristen, for any new coaches on the team. And we're really excited about each and every other week. It was every week for, my goodness, 6 years, 7 years?
5 years.
I don't know, 5 or 6 years we were doing team calls. And now we're doing them every other week, so I'm even more excited and fired up. But tonight we're excited about who our guest speaker is going to be. Kristen's going to go over some news and announcements, quick news and announcements. I'm going to do some quick recognition like we always do, and then we're going to introduce our amazing guest speaker tonight. So go ahead, babe.
All right, guys, I will know without even asking you who's doing 2B Mindset right now by how many people get up in the middle of this call to go use the bathroom. Can I get an amen?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just been like all the talk is about pee. So the new hashtag is hashtag pee is key, right? Everybody got their water bottle? So obviously that we've had our launch for 2B Mindset, and the excitement around it is insane. I can't believe the amount of people that are getting results in, what is it? It's been 1 week. Right? 1 week. Diane Rizzo lost 9.3 pounds. Like, it's insane. So really, really excited. If you haven't gotten your kit yet as a coach, guys, you're going to miss this huge opportunity to be in the Alana group, because she's number one, she's amazing. She is a wealth of knowledge, and any questions or anything that you have, it will all be answered in that group. So going forward, you know, if you want to help people do this, even if it's not your jam or something that you want to do, you honestly should put yourself through it so you understand, watch all the videos, get into Alana's group, so that way you can share this with as many people as possible. Beachbody is opening the doors for us to help more people. You know, those people that where, you know, they're like, I can't work out. And we used to be like, oh, sorry, you know, can't do one of my challenge groups, you know. Those people now can be helped by us. So it's just opening a lot of doors, guys. You got to get on board with this and at least go through it as a coach so you understand how it works. And that will, of course, lead us into Lift 4, which I know you're checking out my Lift 4 shoulders, aren't you? You're checking me out. I know. I see it. I see it. We are really obviously excited about that because we're in the test group and we are absolutely loving it, right? And the fact, the point of this program, Lift 4, and it kind of goes really nicely with the 2B Mindset, is giving you your life back, right? Where you're not confined to counting calories and using the containers and tracking everything, you know, points and all of that. And then it leads into a program that's only 4 days a week where, you know, if you bike ride, if you swim, if you run, if you Zumba, if you CrossFit, you can do all of that stuff. So that, again, we're reaching more people. All those runners that are like, sorry, I can't work out and do a 7 day a week program. This is for them. Like, you can, now I got you, you know, like I can help you with your nutrition and you got your running. And guess what? I have a program that's 4 days a week that you can still do your running and your Zumba and all those things that you love, and hiking and walking your dogs. And you can get into amazing shape by doing this. So Beachbody's really headed down an amazing path. I'm really excited about it. Please mark your calendars. We have Joel Freeman as our guest speaker on Thursday night, July 12th, 6:30 Pacific time, because he's in California. So yes, our team call will be on a Thursday that week.
At 9:30 New York time.
Yeah. So please mark your calendars. Joel will have a lot to say. That's July 12th. July 16th is when everybody is going to get access to the actual workout programs and his exclusive coach group. So to be able to talk to him and ask him questions a few days before the launch is huge. So make sure you guys have that written down. All right. Summit is coming. It's only how many weeks away?
It's like a month.
Holy moly. If you guys did not already see it, the Summit shirts, the tanks, and the t-shirts are available. I posted the link in the page. The flash sale is only open until May 18th, so you got to make sure you get your shirts for the team party, which is going to be that Saturday night before the closing ceremony. We're doing our team party. It's going to be like a little cocktail hour type thing where we all get together. We're going to talk goals. We're gonna have a really good time. So I'm going to post information on the team party, but you got to get your shirts. Everybody's going to wear their shirts that night. The To Be Mindset is open until June 3rd to get the $20 off, and again, to get into Alana's group. So if you have people still interested, keep talking to them and try to get them into Alana's group. Obviously, they have to sign up as coaches to do so. So this is a great opportunity to get some new people on board. Again, once they start this and they see results, they're going to become believers like everybody does, right? The Success Club prize for May is a Joel bobblehead. I know everybody wants that. Guys, work on helping just 3 people this month and get your Joel bobblehead so we can all shake them. And I think those were the main points. I kind of wanted to go fast. Oh, and a big shout out to Tyann Sanchez, our newest diamond, who I heard on the National Wake Up Call today. Did you hear her? Except he didn't say Tyann, he said Tian, but that's okay. So I don't know if Ty is on the call. I can't see her, but congratulations, Tyann. There's nothing better than hearing your name on the National Wake Up Call. And I think those are the main things. Recognition. Dave's going to do recognition, but first, let's do some shout outs. Who has some shout outs for some people on our team? Who are you most proud of this week? What's going down? Just unmute yourself. We're going to do just a few guys.
All right. I have not given a shout out in a while, so let me do that. I have a big shout out for Teresa. She has earned her ticket to the party and she's hit Success Club, and she's actually really going crazy with this To Be Mindset with me, and I'm really happy to have somebody to share that with. And I'm going to give a shout out to my hubby, who's actually downstairs working out. But he hit Success Club this month as well, and he's starting to look like the Joel bobblehead. Really.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Glenn.
Put them side by side, and you'll see.
I love it. Who else has a shout out?
Don't be shy. Anybody else?
Come on, guys.
No, sometimes we have to be like, all right, we're moving on.
And then we hear, I would like to give a shout out to I see a couple of my new coaches on, this is their first team call. I see Melissa Marzella and Melissa, and Melissa Daly, sorry. Melissa's from high school. So my 2 Melissa coaches, this is their first team call. There's her daughter. She's a mom of 3 girls like me. Thanks for joining the call for the first time ever, guys. So I just put you on the spot, but I'm happy to see you.
Should I move on to recognition?
One more, anybody? Anybody?
Going once, going twice. All right, moving on to recognition. So real quick in recognition, I want to go over the people that have hit 500. I'm going to read it quickly. Personal volume points or more. So far to date, as of May 9th, last ending bonus week, these are people that have 500 personal volume points or more. Why is that important? Because those of you that know, we've been training a lot about building Emerald Tribes and to try to duplicate yourself and strive to hit 500 PV. So in the 500 club right now, we have Sharice Nolson, Glenn Carrozza, Allison Cross, Lindsay Kaufman, Dana McLeod, Michelle Broda, Teresa Scipione, Devin Wheaton, Elizabeth Guerrera, Darlene Heath, Tracy Roberts, Melissa McLean, Patricia Ferris, and Candace Feldman. And in the 1,000 club, that have 1,000 volume points, we have Joan Carrozza, who's almost at 2,000, Joanna Anamadoris, myself, Shannon Larice, Darlene Champ, Kayla Savard, Rachel Cullivan, Kristen Atkins, Julia Carrera, and Michelle Tegenkamp. So those are the people on our team that have at least 1,000 or more volume to date in the week. So without further ado, I want to introduce Kacia, who I'm really excited about that we got to get to know. She's moving across country. She is a fellow New Yorker, but she's going across country. Kacia is a 9-star diamond coach for her team, and she is 3-time elite. She's an executive leader on the leadership ladder. So for those of you that know the leadership ladder, that is the highest pinnacle of the leadership ladder. She's a Success Club All-Star legend and has been in it every month since coaching in January of 2014. So that's 4 years and counting. And she is a full-time coach after leaving her corporate career in April 2015. And I think it was with Google, right? Yes, I remember. We've seen Kacia speak at Leadership. We've seen her speak at Summit, and she's speaking at Summit this year.
Hall B.
Hall B. And
We're all going to Hall B, Kacia. We're going to see you.
And even more, our whole part-time approach mentality that Kristen and I came back with to train you guys came from when we were at Leadership last fall, from none other, this rock star, beautiful coach. So I want to introduce to you guys Kacia Fitzgerald, and welcome to our call.
What an intro! Woo! I'm like fired up. I'm so excited, you guys. Thank you so much for having me with you guys tonight. I'm really excited about this topic. I think it's so important, and thank you guys again. Just like all of those words, and wow. So quick little backstory. Like David just mentioned, I have been coaching actively since January 2014. I was a discount coach prior to that. My upline coach is Brigitte Linford. And what's cool is I have a really different story than Brigitte's. And mine involved always wanting to work in the corporate world. When I started coaching, I had no desire to build this into a full-time business. In fact, I didn't really think it ever would be for me. So that's kind of where that part-time mindset came from, is I was really, really focused on falling in love with the process. And until about 6 months into coaching, when I attended Summit, so raise your hand if you're going to Summit. You can see like, okay, so many people, yay. This is a game changer for my business when I saw the potential there of what this could be. And I was already so in love with coaching. It was totally a part-time thing for me then, but I really just put my my gas pedal to the floor and just really cranked it out pretty quickly after attending Summit. So I left the corporate world in April of 2015, which was about 14 months after I started coaching. And I actually left my dream job to be a coach because this could provide me my dream life, So that's a little bit of backstory about kind of me and how this all works, and why I feel really passionate about this particular topic tonight is it's all about time management and kind of the mindset around how to build this business regardless of what your life looks like. Because I think a lot of times we get caught up in craziness and life throws a curveball, or we've got a crazy busy week and Beachbody takes the back burner. And like Dave mentioned, I've hit Success Club every single month in my business, which has really given me this solid foundation to build a multiple six-figure business and to really not see tons of dips in my income. And it comes a lot from building this in a consistent way that it was manageable to sustain over time. And I've been able to help coaches duplicate that. So I'm going to share with you guys a couple of like tangible things that you guys can implement, and also just give you a little bit of like tips and tricks of what I did when I worked a full-time job while working this business, and kind of how I've transitioned from there. So we're going to talk mindset, we're going to talk time management, and we're going to talk a little bit about boundaries, because I think all of those things encompass really well to help you build a business that you actually love right now. Because if you fall in love with the process, not just what the process produces, you're going to be here and you're going to love the pursuit of your goals, right? Not just when you get there. So kind of just to set this stage, whether you've been a coach, a brand new coach, and this is your, call one, like a lot of the Melissas on the call one, or you've been here for longer than I have. I've been a coach for 4 years. Maybe you've been here longer than me. You have to remember that as you're building your business, even if it's day one or it's year 5, coaches are watching you. Your challengers are watching you. People that pretend like they don't even see what you're doing on social media are watching you. People that type your name into Facebook or Instagram and look at your post but will never interact with you, they're all watching your behaviors, which can be really daunting, but it's also a really cool thing to just remember as you're building your business, that your potential coaches are coming from your challenge groups. So when you feel like you can't manage it all, remember that you're teaching those challengers who will eventually be coaches before they're. So straight out the gates, challenge groups. I check into challenge groups still to this day as a full-time coach. I check in 2 times, one in the morning and one in the evening. I don't check in multiple times throughout the day. That's a time management hack. I'm going to give you guys a bunch of these things that I do. But remember, it's because if you're working a full-time job, you want your challengers to be able to envision what it would be like for them to build this business. So if every single time that someone checks into your challenge group and you're so excited and you comment right back, you're setting that behavior and that standard for future coaches. Okay, so these are some of the things that we're going to talk about tonight that I think have been very beneficial to help you kind of see that you might have a lot more time than you're even giving yourself credit for, because you might be doing things that are helping you, or I guess hindering your ability to duplicate this. Okay, so a couple of things. Number one, I just want to tell you guys that I'm not a mom. I'm not a human mom. So I'm not going to try and say that I ever understand someone's schedule, but I will tell you that everyone has something that they use as their excuse of why they can't do this business. I've heard a bazillion times, well, you know, if I had a bigger fitness transformation, well, if I had a more supportive husband, if I didn't have kids, if I had kids, if I could talk about my postpartum journey, if I, you know, had a more exciting life that I could talk about. Every single person has something of why they think they can't be successful. Be the person that uses to your advantage your own story, because people are only going to connect with you, and you are the best. I see Lindsay. You are the best Lindsay, that if you show up authentically and share your story, someone is going to connect with you better than they're going to connect with me or Maria, because you are showing up as Lindsay. So you really have to believe that. And before you're looking around at other people's schedules, or you're looking around at their successful points or their volume, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors and you don't know their story. So stay in your lane as we're building out your schedule, okay? So first, number one, this is what I loved. My background is in project management too. So I was in IT project management, and then I moved into engineering recruiting. So I actually really, really, really love schedules. And I love talking to my team about this. So when you're mapping out your schedule of like, when am I actually going to build my business? Most of the time people think about social media and they think about inviting. But I would encourage you to first and foremost think about yourself, because you are your actual business, right? That doesn't mean you have to have a 6-pack abs. That doesn't mean you have to look like the cover of Shape magazine, but you are your business, which means your mindset, your body, your energy, your journey, your true authentic story. That is your actual business. It's not Beachbody that's your business. And I think there's a big distinction. I'm not Kacia Beachbody coach. I'm Kacia who partners with Beachbody and gets to use their products, their programs, their marketing, their to-be mindset, their connections, all of that stuff. But I am my business. So when you're mapping out your business plan or your schedule, you've got to put yourself on your to-do list first. Otherwise, you can have all the templates in the world, but what's going to happen is you're going to burn out, because you're not going to be filling your cup and pouring from the overflow. Instead, you're going to be just drying yourself out. And then what happens is Beachbody takes the back burner, right? And you don't get to take advantage of the fact that this is a residual income compounding business, which means you stay in it consistently over time and really show up. That's how your income grows beyond your wildest dreams, right? But you've got to stay in it and stay consistent. This can't be the first thing that goes. And the way to prevent that, whether you've been a coach for a long time or you're a brand new coach, is when you're mapping out your schedule, put your workouts on your schedule like they're actually part of your business, like your job. So if you think you're quote unquote not a morning person, become a morning person, because you care more about your goals than you do about the BS story that you're telling yourself that you're not a morning person, right? So, by the way, I'm kind of like truth bombing and in your face. I'm really like, no, but I also like kind of want to like tell you guys what's up, because that's why I'm here. So put yourself on your schedule first and foremost, which means your personal development. I was a very happy-go-lucky person when I started Beachbody, but I guarantee you I would have not seen the success that I've seen in my business if I wasn't consistently doing personal development. I'm not going to beat a dead horse on this. I know you guys hear this all the time, but you've got to actually put it on your schedule, in your calendar. I even set like alarms in my phone of when I'm going to eat. Like I change the little hearts on my alarms for 80-day obsession to the colors, right? That's your program. So put yourself on your calendar first. And how I would do this when I worked at Google is on Sunday nights, I would sit down. I was almost always in my apartment in downtown New York City with my boyfriend on Sunday nights, where I would sit down and I would map out the week. And 95% of the time, I'm going to do my workouts first thing in the morning just to get it done. That's so important. I'm my business. I want to be in the best mindset. I'd map those out for the week. I'd look at what are the commitments that I have. And for, back then when I had work commitments, or he is 2 weeks out from graduation at NYU Dental. So we'd have a lot of like dental school functions for him. If you have kids, what are your kids' activities? You pretty much know some of the things that you're committed to doing on a weekly basis. So block off the things that have to get blocked off, including your workouts first. So you've got like your skeleton of your schedule. If you have to leave for work at a certain time, when you get back at a certain time, block all of that stuff up proactively so you kind of know what you're working with. Understanding that life throws curveballs, especially if you're a human mom. I can't even imagine. Right, I'm not even going to try and say that I understand, but have that skeleton laid out, because then you kind of know what you're working with in terms of time blocks. But make sure that you are on your schedule first, okay? And as soon as you realize that you're able to become a morning person, if you can make that a priority, you're going to see that the rest of the day just maps out so much easier. If that can be one tiny little tweak you can make, I think it's a game changer. So, like I said, you are your business, so you're putting yourself on your schedule first. You have to make sure that you're functioning at the highest level that you can, because especially if you have a limited amount of time, we want to be really, really efficient. So these are a couple of questions that I start with when I'm talking to coaches about building out a schedule, and kind of if you even know how to frame this for yourself. So number one, when do you actually work your business? It sounds like such a simple question, but if you treat this like a business, it will yield business producing results. If you treat this like a hobby, expect hobby results. You've heard that before, I'm sure. But if you treat this, I treated this like a hobby business at first, and it yielded hobby results. As soon as I drew a line in the sand when I went to Summit 6 months in, I said, I'm going to treat this like a 6-figure plus business. And guess what? It became that, because I treated it like that. Just like a marketing, there'd be a marketing department. If you were a CEO of any type of company, if you had a sub shop, you'd have to figure out a whole lot of more logistics than we do as coaches, right? So treat this like a business and actually have times that you work, even if it's part-time. Don't rob yourself of the opportunity to get that satisfaction that comes from showing up and building that consistency muscle. It's going to create so much more confidence as you're showing up every single day. You're putting a deposit in your confidence bucket. And you know what makes this business easier? When you're really, really confident in what you can offer to people, right? So make sure that you're giving yourself the opportunity to build those confidence deposits as frequently as you can. And by having a mapped out schedule and knowing that you're not going to show up perfectly all the time, but you're going to do your absolute best, that will help so much. So know when you're actually working. I actually, like I said, I've been a coach for 4 years. And early on, I thought that there were certain things that you had to do every single day to be successful in this business. I actually don't train my coaches that way anymore. I think there are weekly goals where I have a certain amount of invites that I want to do for the week. I have a certain amount of follow-ups that I want to do for the week. And I map that out, and I plug in chunks of time, and I'm going to tell you guys how I do this. I plug in chunks of time throughout the week to make sure that I get those done on a weekly basis. That way I'm not beating myself up if I have other priorities that take the front burner on weekends, especially if you have a family. That might be, taking the front burner. I travel a lot. Sometimes my schedule looks a little bit different, but I have certain chunks that I know I'm going to block out proactively. So know when you work. A couple of chunks that I like to block off on my schedule is I do these things. This is really weird and quirky, but I'm obsessed with the number 11. So I do these things that are 22-minute pockets with the goal of inviting 11 people. So if you're building your business and you have goals in your business to hit Success Club, which if you're on this call or listening to this recording, you want to help people. Honestly, if you're a coach and you want to help and you don't want to help people, you should for sure quit, because you're going to really suck as a coach. You don't want to help people. But if you want to help people and you want to do your job, you're going to be hitting Success Club, because you're helping 3 people a month, right? Your entire business helping 3 people in 1 month, that's Success Club. So what you want to do is you want to block off times to actually invite people to join your challenge group, or to join a challenge group if you run one with your upline, or a team group, or whatever it is that you may be inviting to, you need to proactively block off a couple of chunks of time. And instead of a power hour, what I love to do is these 22-minute blocks of time. So what do? I set my phone with a timer. I told you guys I was a project manager, so this stuff like makes me all pumped. So I set my timer for 22 minutes. I have a challenge group invite that I've put in the notes section of my phone, where I type out, like, it sounds like me. It's how I would talk to a best friend. I talk to everyone like we're already friends. I predominantly build my business on Instagram. So I'm going to type out in the notes section of my phone my challenge group invite. And in the course of 22 minutes, I'll set my timer going backwards. In 22 minutes, my goal is to send out 11 invites minimum in 22 minutes. Okay. And I'm going to block off a couple of times on my calendar for the week that I'm going to do those 22-minute chunks. You will blow your mind, especially if you're a new coach, or if you're a tenured coach who feels like you're quote unquote working, but you kind of see that you're not actually getting results. When you have a timer going backwards, it makes it more fun. New coaches tend to like lessen the fear because they're so focused on the goal of at least getting 11 invites during that 22 minutes that it almost like lessens the fear of what they're doing, and it makes it more fun because you are going to get responses back. Maybe not everyone will respond. I still get ghosted on all the time. A lot of those people come back around. But if you block out a couple of chunks of time that you're actually going to do those invites, you're going to see that your business is going to grow. And if you don't have 22 minutes, like, I literally don't know what to tell you, because you don't care enough about your business if you can't make 22 minutes to do something to move your business forward, right? So that is like the crucial thing. Number one, yourself. Number two is actually inviting people to join you. And I will tell you guys that I thought that eventually I would just post on social media and like everyone and their cousin would just want to join my groups. That's not the reality. I get so many people that I invite that are like, I'm so glad you asked. I've been wanting to ask you. Or I'm so glad that you actually reached out to me about this. I've been nervous to reach out to you. I'm like, what? I tell you, I'm like literally like, come join my group. People are waiting for you to ask them. So please don't hold this opportunity back because you're nervous of someone else's perception of you. Because think about how grateful you are that someone invited you to join this opportunity, right? Or someone decided to be unselfish and not think about their fear about posting on social media, and you got to see that this opportunity was something that was available for you. And when you come from that place of gratitude, this gets so much easier. And again, if you're not used to doing that many invites, then you're going to find that that is putting huge deposits in your confidence bucket. And again, this business gets easier the more confident you get in yourself as you keep moving forward. This type of structure works really well for even someone that's been around for a while that maybe isn't seeing the results that they want to see, because it just gives you a jolt of energy from doing something in a short time frame that's going to actually produce results, right? So the first thing, block off yourself, right? Like I said, your workouts, your personal development, you've got to take care of you. Block off a time to actually invite. And the next thing I would encourage you to invite, which is what most people tend to do, but they count it as business building, is the maintenance, right? So take care of the people that are in your challenge groups. I think that using a timer makes you do things in the allotted amount of time. Like, ladies, talk to me about this. Your husband, boyfriend, whatever, is like, hey, we have to leave in 10 minutes. All of a sudden, I can literally do my hair, dry shampoo, put my lipstick on, do all my mascara, and I'm out the door in 10 minutes because we're running late. If I have 30 minutes, it takes me 30 minutes and I still look the same at the end. So the amount of time that you give yourself to do that activity is how long it's actually going to take you, right? So for checking into challenge groups, I give myself a timer and I get as much done as I possibly can within that time that's allotted. So I'm blocking off those chunks proactively on my calendar. I did this when I worked at Google, 60 plus hours a week, because my goals were so important to me and I needed to show up, but I didn't have that much time in my schedule. And I actually had to go back to this when my schedule opened up more, when I became a full-time coach, because I found that it was taking me a really long time to do stuff that I could do in a much shorter time frame when I was working full-time. So yourself, your invites, and then your maintenance block. And then I would also, like, if you're building your business, like I do on Instagram, I do a chunk of time where I'm adding to my network for 22 minutes. I do everything in 22, just I love the number. you pick a number that works for you, but I do everything in those chunks of time. So I will just add people to my network for 22 minutes on Instagram. So for example, say you like Joanna Gaines, if you like Fixer Upper, I would go to Joanna Gaines's Instagram and I would spend 22 minutes, which is a lot of time to like try and get followers, adding people that also like Joanna Gaines, right? So this would work for any clothing brand. I do this for a lot of Etsy shops, whatever it may be, adding to your network. I predominantly use Instagram, so I don't do this as much on Facebook, but that works really, really well for me because I'm blocking off a couple of chunks of 22 minutes during my week that I proactively put on my calendar to add to my network. So yourself, your maintenance for the people that you've already promised that you would show up for, adding to your network, and obviously inviting. I would honestly say the last block that I would include there too is follow-ups, right? So follow-ups is, I would say 90% of my challenge packs come from follow-ups. I think that a majority of people don't say yes right away, right? They want to see that you actually care. And oh my gosh, does follow-ups make people feel like you care? My go-to follow-up is, hey girl, just wanted to make sure you knew I didn't forget about you. We were chatting about you joining one of my online accountability groups. You were super pumped. I know life might have gotten crazy, so I wanted to make sure that you knew I'm holding a spot for you. Do you want to jump in with us this month? The number one part of that follow-up that I love is I want to make sure that you know that I didn't forget about you, because I didn't. I cared enough to write their name down and follow up with them. Number two, I'm holding a spot for you, right? So sense of urgency. And number three, it almost puts it on me because I followed up with them. I'll do this to someone that ghosted me, right? And when I say ghosted, I mean someone that didn't respond to my initial invite. I'll say, hey girl, I know sometimes life gets crazy. I sometimes even forget to text back my best friends. I wanted to follow up with you because every time you pop up in my newsfeed, I think you would totally love this Girl Tribe accountability group that I'm a part of. And I wanted to extend an invite and know you've got a spot for this month. Is this something you'd be interested in, right? So a chunk of time that I'm doing follow-ups. So just to recap really quick, because I know I'm talking quickly. Number one is you. You've got to make you the priority. I honestly think if everything else falls off the face of the planet, you have to come first, because that's going to keep you here consistently to reap the benefits of you showing up over time. This is a residual income compound effect business, right? The ripple effect gets bigger and bigger. And the first year is, I think, the hardest because you have no idea what the hell you're doing and you're trying to figure it all out, right? Especially with a full-time job, especially I look at some of my coaches with 3 kids and a full-time job, and I totally get that that's crazy, right? But stick it out. But don't rob yourself the opportunity to reap the benefits long-term that come from this business by making yourself go on the back burner because you have big business goals. When my business goals are bigger, my PD increases drastically because I need to become the person in pursuit of the goal that can handle the goal when I get there, right? So, like I said, that was a side tangent. But number one is you and putting yourself on your calendar. Number two, like I said, I do 22-minute invite blocks, block those off. Adding to your network, follow-ups, and maintenance. Those are the main categories of things that I block out on my calendar. So this is where you get to be really, really self-aware. If that means that like you have 12 soccer games, I mean, I don't know mom life, but like you've got like a bazillion soccer games on Tuesday nights and you're like, I can't do anything on Tuesday nights. This is where you give yourself the grace to say that I'm not doing these business building activities on Tuesday. So I'm going to do 2 22-minute invites on Saturday morning before life gets crazy. And I'm going to wake up early and do these things. You get to put it into, you're the CEO, you're the boss. No one's going to fire you if you don't show up. That's what makes this really difficult for some people that aren't used to being their own boss. I know that was difficult for me, is I had to be the boss, which means I had to hold myself accountable to what I decided was important because my goals were so dang important. I refused to not show up. So taking those chunks of time and blocking them out as you see fit within what makes sense for your life. And I always encourage coaches to be really realistic about it because you want something that is kind of like your baseline that you can maintain over time. And then as your goals increase or you're in a season of hustle where you've got really big goals at one given point in your business, you want to increase the amount of invite blocks or increase the follow-ups or increase the amount of people that you're adding to your network, but you've got baseline that you're pretty used to, part of how you are and what you do. And it makes it so much easier because then when life gets crazy, it's like you don't forget to brush your teeth, especially not in our house because my boyfriend's going to be a dentist. We don't forget to brush our teeth, but like you just don't forget to do the things that are part of who you are. And that's what Beachbody became to me. I didn't show up perfectly every single day, but it became part of who I was, that I showed up, that it's literally just like, it's what I do now. It's just part of it. So it doesn't feel like I'm constantly grinding to make this work, because some of these baseline things, it's just what I do, right? So you can have that even in a part-time parameters. I have a lot of coaches that are ridiculously successful from a financial perspective, and more importantly, from a fulfillment perspective, because they've given themselves this opportunity to have goals and build their confidence, which guess what? It trickles into every other aspect of your life, right? One more little side tangent on that has to do with boundaries is I think a lot of times when people are first starting, they can feel overwhelmed, or if you've been here for a while and you start to have coaches underneath you, you can start to feel frazzled or overwhelmed. I think the majority of the time that people feel frazzled or overwhelmed by this business is because they just haven't set a boundary, which means they haven't decided what time that they don't respond to things. People think this is weird, but my coaches do not text me under any circumstances. And some of my coaches are my very best friends. They can text me about life, but if they ask me a team volume, I will actually tell some of my legit best friends, like, send that to me in a Facebook message. And they'll copy it and send it to me in a Facebook message. And that sounds crazy, but think about how great it is to not be looking down at my phone and be like, oh, Sally Sue and her customer relations question, right? I'm never looking at my phone feeling that way, and it keeps it really separate. If you have tons of channels of ways that your coaches can reach you, or your customers can reach you, if they think that they can text you at 1:00 in the morning and you're waking up every morning before you go to work when you're supposed to be doing your workout because you're your priority, and you're feeling frazzled because you have 12 text messages from Sarah Beth who has a million questions about yellows. But if that's in your email because you only email with your customers, or you only email with your coaches, or that's in your email or your Facebook Messenger because you've closed the channels of communication, it makes it a lot easier for you to feel happy and fulfilled and excited. And that will not just keep you here, but that will keep you here enjoying the process. And when you really, really enjoy the process, people feel that energy from you, and it's contagious, and it makes them want to build the business. It makes your customers want to become coaches because you look like you're having a way awesome time, and you don't just look that way, but you feel that way. I have never been burned out in this business. I've had moments where, of course, I've cried. I'd want to pull my hair out of my head. I've had crazy life changes. I've had death. I've had moving. I've had all sorts of crazy stuff. Our team started 15-star qualification, which is the highest rank in Beachbody, and we dropped it. And that was a curveball. But I've never had moments where I've said, you know what, maybe this isn't for me. And I honestly think it's because I have such strict priorities and boundaries in place. And I have from the very get-go. So when you're building out a schedule, even if your goals are massive, you guys, I had to make Beachbody does not guarantee any income, blah, blah, blah. But I had to make over 6 figures to leave Google, right? And I did that very quickly. And it's not because I'm a magical unicorn. I didn't figure out Facebook ads. I don't have a Facebook like page. I didn't figure out all of that logistical stuff, but I honored my priorities, which means I had unplugged time because I knew that no one's going to die if I don't respond to their Facebook message. And anyone that is not going to come with me and join my challenge group because I didn't give them a link immediately because I was on date night, that person, I don't want them in my challenge group anyway. They're not for me, right? So I think if you're able to come in and look at your schedule and be like, I care so much about my goals and I care about the process in pursuit of those goals, no matter how long it took me to leave my corporate job, I would have stayed to the schedule that I built, even though it was a little crazy. I would have stayed consistent with that because I loved the process. And I think that's not talked about enough, right? Have the big goals, have the awesome schedule, have the planner, have the great social media posts, but enjoy that actual process, which means you put you first and you set those boundaries so that people don't overstep because they're very clear, right? I don't feel guilty when I don't respond to messages on a Saturday and I get back after it on Sunday night. I don't feel bad about it. And my coaches are duplicating that. So they're happy and they're fulfilled and they're staying here. And they want to invite people to join them because they know that it's duplicatable for them to teach their coaches how to do what they've done. One other little like time management hack that works really well for me. These are two like random things I wanted to share that I just jotted down. Is I do if you are someone who onboards 2 or 3 coaches at one time, like maybe in the course of 2 weeks you onboard 2 or 3 coaches, or maybe you do that in one day. I don't know how many you onboard, but if you or maybe one of your like other coaches that has the same upline as you both onboard 1 or 2 coaches, put them together in a group and do a group getting started right call. And if you're a newer coach, like having that first conversation to talk to them about their goals, I think it's really powerful to actually do that conversation in a really small group because, I mean, it saves you time, especially if time's an issue for you. But what it does too is it bonds these coaches so they don't just have a relationship with you, but they have a relationship amongst each other so that they don't feel like they have so far to go to get to where you're at. So this is more for coaches that have been here for more than 2 years. I would be lying if I told you that I was scared to post on social media. I would also be lying if I told you that I'm scared to invite. I actually feel selfish if I don't invite at this point in my business because I feel like so much has been given to me from Beachbody and this opportunity that like, how can I just sit here and have this life and not pay it forward? I truly believe that to my core, but I wasn't always like that. I was very fearful of posting on social media. I was very fearful of inviting, but I just don't feel that way now. But I get a lot of new coaches who are very fearful of posting on social media, who are very fearful of inviting someone. So it makes them feel more connected and bonded to get other people that are at that stage in their business too, who can say, girl, I get you. I'm scared too. Let's do it together. And let's immediately go like love all over each other's posts. And of course I'm there to support them too, but it creates this type of, I have mostly female coaches, so like sisterhood on our team where they just feel so supported by someone at the same stage in their business. One last hack that works so well for me, I'm actually speaking with Jamie Fitzpatrick at Summit this year, and we're talking a little bit about this concept of sharing other people's stories, which I think has been one of the single most powerful tools that I've used in my business, especially as a non-human mom who does have coaches. I say human mom because I'm a dog mom, but who has coaches who don't have the same life story as me, where every single time that I'm on a training call or I'm doing a one-on-one call with a coach, I'm going to share a tidbit of their story when I post on Instagram. So for example, if you were to post that you're on a training call, which I highly recommend if you use Instagram stories, talk about training calls, because a lot of times people are fearful that they won't know what to do to build a business because they've never done this before. But when you show that you have access to tons of resources, it's a great tool. So for example, if I was Mary and I was going to post on Instagram and I took a picture, I would say something about my story of like, 20-something-year-old who left her corporate world, hearing her talk to us about sharing your story or whatever. Right? I would tell a tidbit of someone else's story. Just like I would say like Kristen, mama 3, like boss, whatever I would say if Kristen was talking. Because that creates connective tissue with your audience. It's a time save in terms of you having to tell multiple stories, but Instagram stories are a really easy way to do this. I have signed up 4 nurse coaches from posting about a one-on-one call with a nurse coach. Multiple times. One of my coaches that was pitching for Diamond that went Diamond really quickly, we did like 4 one-on-one calls in 5 days. And every single time I was like, nurses building businesses. And coaches are like, potential coaches, people on Instagram are like, I didn't even realize you could do this too as a nurse. And I'm like, that's not my story. I'm not a nurse, but Melissa is a nurse. And I talked about her story, and it created connective tissue for this person that was following me on social media. So random little hack, but that serves me so well. So much little piece that I want to share with you guys, and then I can answer any questions or whatever, is what I did, like I mentioned to you guys at the beginning, on Sunday nights. For me, I just picked Sundays, where my boyfriend and I would sit down and we would map out our schedules. And I looped him in to when I was going to work and when I wasn't going to work. And this helps if you yourself or you sign up a coach who doesn't have a supportive significant other. That can often deter people, especially in the early stages. But I looped him in early on. This is when I'm on, like this is when I'm going to be working my business, and this is when I'm not. And he was really supportive since the get-go. But teaching coaches how to duplicate that, of like getting buy-in from their significant other of when they're going to work and when they're not going to work, and actually honoring your schedule. And I've had moms even posted on their fridge that are like, this is when mom's in her office working, or this is when mom's in the living room working on from here to here. And then they honor that, and people respect it. They see that you're treating this like a business, and they have more buy-in with what you're doing, and they're going to be rooting for you more because they feel like they're included in the process, versus, oh, this is the random thing that Melissa does where she's like playing on her phone on Instagram. I have no idea what she's doing. Who knows what your significant other could think about that? But if you loop them in, it creates more credibility and trust early on, and that helps a ton. So, okay. I haven't done any questions. I can keep talking forever, but I want to respect everyone's time. So,
absolutely love it. Nuggets everywhere, and I hope everybody took notes. I want to see if anybody has any questions, or if Kristen, you have questions, or anybody has questions, unmute your line. Maybe we'll take 2 or 3 questions. Anybody on anything? Somebody speak up. Also, I'm going to call on one of our leaders, and the 2 sitting right to my left are Allie and Lindsay. Any questions?
I have so many notes. This was really, really, really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
I've got pages. Can you expand just a little bit more so when you hop on a getting started right with multiple people, can you just quickly give the Cliff's Notes version of what that looks like?
Yeah. So when I first sign someone up as a coach, I'm at least like doing a voice message, and I've actually been trying to even like get on the phone with them for like 15 minutes to have that initial like conversation. But when we're talking about business building, I'm keeping it super simple. So month 1 goals for all coaches for me are like when I'm working with a coach is you're going to hit Success Club, sign 3 people up the same way that you signed up, and advance your business to Emerald. And if they ask questions about anything else that they've seen, like Diamond or whatever, I'm like, every single month, you're going to help 3 people get started the same way that you got started, and you're going to go Emerald. And you're going to do that every single month. The amount of times that you go Emerald within 1 month just depends on your goals. The higher your Success Club points just depends on your goals. So everything is super simple. Even when people freak out about like, Diamond seems so hard, blah, blah. Diamond's a huge accomplishment, and you celebrate the heck out of it. But it's essentially going Emerald 4 times and then helping 1 coach on each side go Emerald, right? It's all about Emeralds and Emeralds and Emeralds over and over and over again, and Success Club. So Emerald and Success Club are the main things that I talk about from a business building standpoint. And I want to make sure that they're actually sticking to a program themselves. And I'm like, you're just going to start talking about the program that you're doing. And especially because I have a lot to say, and I write like literally like 5-paragraph essays on Facebook about my life. And I don't know, I've done that since the beginning, but I encourage them to just focus on every single day on Instagram stories, at least if they're nervous to post. I'm pushing my coaches. I'm pushing them. I'm pushing them to do Instagram because I think it's really easy to share a clip of your workout or to talk about what you're doing, to turn your phone around and be like, hey, that's like how I do all of my challenge group invites now. As I will literally turn my phone around and I won't have any makeup on, and I'll probably be sweaty and disgusting. I'll be like, this kicked my butt. you could totally do this too. And then I'll add a poll, or I'll say like, respond to this story if you're interested and we can chat more about it. And I tell my coaches that early on, like, it doesn't need to be perfect. And I will actually discourage them from thinking they need to write huge Facebook posts like I do. And I'm just like, keep it simple. Day 1 through day whatever of your program, but invite people in the process. Don't wait till you finish your program. Invite people to join you in the process. So Emerald Success Club, posting about their fitness journey straight out the gates, plugging them into personal development, and then I'll put them into our coach training too. But only if they've already been in an accountability group with me. Because I will, and if they sign up as a coach directly, which everyone that I invite gets the option to sign up as a coach or a challenger straight out the gates. But under extremely rare circumstances, will I plug them right into a coach training because I want them to have that experience. I'll tell them that they can invite someone to join a challenge group with them, but I won't overtrain them. I actually think that's a really big problem in the network, is just like so much training when it's really simple.
Awesome. Thank you, lady, so much.
Yeah, of course.
Candace, you had a quick question, I think. I'll unmute you.
Training.
I was just asking about when you talk about like training nurses, for example, is that only on your stories or is that in a post as well?
So anytime that I'm posting about someone, I use that as an opportunity to tell their story and their hesitations. So for example, an Emerald post, like business starter, talking about their transformation, whatever it is, or if I'm on a call with them, I'm going to tell a tidbit of their story. So in an Instagram story, I would just say like full-time nurse, part-time coach, mom of 3 or whatever. Right. So I would like take a picture. So for example, if you're on Zoom, I would take a picture like this and I would just write on it on the text. And I would just say like 3 bullets about that particular person. Or after I got off the call, if there was something that I like resonated with, I would actually just say like, it's so cool to be on a call with someone who has a full-time nursing job that they actually love, doesn't even build this business full-time like me. And she's lost 15 pounds and is now helping so many other people when she already has a passion about health. Like, best job ever. You know, that's my personality. So I would say that in an actual video after I posted the picture. And then any time that I'm like with a coach or I'll always tell the story of like how we met or what their fitness background is. I'm not telling my story. I'm not like, Beachbody, I love that I have coach friends now. I'm like, so crazy that we met on Instagram because she was looking for more fulfillment. She lost 15 pounds and now she gets to record crazy coach life. So I'm saying that person's story. Anytime I get an opportunity, I'm telling that story. And that works. That is like a game changer.
And that's always, that would be in a post or always in a story?
That I would do that in a post too. So like, okay. I was at a girlfriend's wedding that's a coach on our team this weekend. And like, I posted a couple of posts with girls there and then I was like, I can't believe that we like met on the internet from this coach life and became friends. And, you know, I would say something about that particular person's story in a post, especially for Emeralds, or cause I'm explaining their hesitations. I'm like explaining how like as a crazy mom of 3 and has a full-time job, why would Camille even want to do this coaching thing? And what she's found from it, and I'm literally saying this, and if you're outside of the Beachbody world, you might not know what Emerald means, but it's crazy because that gives her credibility with her audience of like why she was skeptical of Beachbody, because most people are, right? And then it gives me credibility that I can mentor someone who has a different story than mine. So we both win in that way.
And do you tag them? Do you tag the coaches?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I want them to use it almost like to add credibility to them that they got shouted out about something that like people outside of Beachbody, you know, don't really know what like Emerald or business starter is, but it shows that they're like seeing success to some degree in their business.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything. Everything you're saying is great. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Julia, I think you have a question. I'm going to unmute you. Go ahead, Julia.
Hi, Kacia. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. As far as pockets of time, obviously you have a team of coaches yourself. How many more pockets do you need to create to mentor your coaches? I know you put them in some type of training, but I find even with the couple of coaches that I have that are working the business, there's a lot of even Facebook messages. It's just, onboarding them. It's, you just can't stick them in coach training and then kind of let them go. So if you're on the level that you're at, I mean, I'm talking maybe 2 or 3 coaches personally. I'm sure you're quite higher than that. How do you keep those boundaries, and how many hours a day are you working this business?
So my answer is going to be a little bit different because my team has 20 coaches. So pretty big team. But what's cool about it is I've duplicated these pillars within the downline. So I don't feel the weight when a Star Diamond coach, is onboarding a coach. But I think when you're in those early stages, the people that show up the most are going to get your most of your time, in my opinion, right? So like the top 20% of your team is going to produce 80% of your income and volume, and they're going to help the most people. So while right now, early in the stage, if you're feeling right now like this, like, because I can tell just even by your tone that you're kind of like, I'm overwhelmed by the amount of questions. So I would maybe even have like a group that they can help each other. I would push them to other resources as well, like the team page, coach. I mean, if there are questions that are like coach FAQable, I literally will be like, hey girl, actually, if you check in coach FAQ, you'll be able to find that like smiley face. I just have zero tolerance. Like I do not tolerate babysitting people. So if it's something that's like Googleable, I just be able to say that I worked there. If you can Google it, or you can coach FAQ it, or you can use the magnifying glass in your team page and find it, I'm not answering it because I don't want to teach them. Because like if you feel this way, you are doing it from a loving place where you want to help them and you want them to be successful. But the business part of my brain is like, because you're teaching them that's what they're going to then have to do. And the odds of them wanting to duplicate it and stay here, if they are maybe not as like loving heart based as I perceive you to be, that's a recipe for you not growing your business, you not growing your volume, and them being set up to not be as successful. So I would even like draw the line in the sand right now. Like, hey ladies, I don't know if they're ladies, but I was thinking about it and I want to make sure that we're all set up for success. What about if we have like one time a week that we get on and bounce ideas off of each other? I treat you all as leaders. Like we set our goals for the week and then we move on, and they don't need to have questions. Like what are they possibly asking questions about every single day? Right? Or if you're getting, sorry, I'm sweating because I love this topic. Last tidbit, if you're getting the same questions over and over and over again, that would say to me as the leader, make a video or make a template and start to build up your bank of resources that you can just ping them a video.
Yes. Great.
A short little video. Even if it's like, how do I access this? You could think like, I don't want to spend the time to make a video. I'll just take 2 seconds to send them a voice message. Well, they're then going to sign up a coach who's going to have the same question. What about if you had like a Julia 3-second and under video, or 3-minute and under for every single topic that you're getting questions on? Then you've got this bank of stuff that you can send them.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
All right, last question, Lynn.
Yes, thank you, Kristen. Okay, this is because you just totally like kind of made me really excited, because I'm sort of the same way with like, can't you just look this shit up? Like, because that's how I am. I'm like, I'm going to go watch as many videos as I can. Now, don't get me wrong. I have bothered my coaches with questions, but I always am like, oh my gosh, I can't, like, you can do it. I promise you can. So how do you like build your team culture? Like how, because sometimes I feel like if I'm too much of a hard ass, Allie's laughing at me because she knows. Because sometimes I don't have a lot of patience, but I also am like, I love most people. Like, how do you sort of bridge that gap of like sort of being the hard ass, but also showing them like, I really care. I promise. I just can't. I can't answer every question because the answer is right there.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're just really honest. I'm so honest, which means I ugly cry to my team sometimes, like just like real ugly. And I'll also be like, you guys, like, I don't want you to not know how, like, I explain the reasoning behind it always. So I don't feel like I'm just like a psycho, like mean person. I'm like, hey, you guys, I don't want to set you up for like how I'm feeling by the questions that I'm getting, because you guys are all going to be uber successful. And when you have your own teams of, with 2,800 coaches in your downline, you're going to feel like you've got so many questions coming at you. It's going to suck your soul and the fun out of this. So let's just draw the line in the sand right now that we have like a hierarchy of information. Number one, check this. When you've done these 3 things, then we ask the question. I also I have a group that's called, all of my coaches are female. So it's called Boss Babes Build Up. It's a community group. I'll do random challenges. People can go live in there if it's less than 3 minutes. No one's allowed to talk more than 3 minutes because no one wants to listen for more than 3 minutes. So like they can go into that. The culture in there is anytime that they have a win, they do like a boomerang video if they send up a new coach or a challenger. So it keeps it really fun and lively, but they have to share where they found that coach or the invite example or the backstory with their boomerang. So there's something teachable that someone else can learn from it. And I kind of set those parameters straight out the gates, but made it very collaborative with my leaders. So however many leaders, like obviously you and Allie and who, I don't know how everything works on this team, but like, you know, whoever you have that's like your rock stars or up and coming rock stars, spread that responsibility amongst them so that it's not all on you, because you're going to feel hot mess express. And especially if you have a low patient stress threshold like I do, like I'm not, if you can Google it, I'm literally not answering. So I think creating that culture helps because then they can help each other too. And then it's not just on you. And then you're creating more cross, friendships between coaches in the downline, because you also want them to be really bonded to their sister or brother coaches, right? Not just with you. Cause like when you have, God forbid you have strep throat or something crazy and like you don't want to talk to anyone and they all of a sudden are just like, I can't do anything because Lindsay's gone. You don't want that either, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Kacia, you are a freaking rock star. You are amazing. You guys, I sent a group message to some of my coaches. I said, you're going to see why I want to take Kacia and put her in my closet. Like whenever I'm feeling down, I just want to open the door and have Kacia be like, hi.
I'll be like, Kristen, you're so hot. What's up, girl? I see your biceps every day.
But I just love her energy. Yeah, you do that. Sure.
Dave's like, that's my job. Thank you guys so much. So nice meeting you guys tonight. And thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much. When are you moving? Next week?
The 28th. We have to be out by 6 a.m. on the 28th.
Oh my gosh. All right. Yeah, she's moving to California, like literally from New York. So she
with my dog.
So give her a big round of applause for sneaking us in. I know you're so busy. And we cannot wait to see you rock that stage at Summit. We're all gonna see you.
Yay, I can't wait to see you guys. Have a wonderful night and thank you again for having me.
Thanks, guys. Good night, team. Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.